All right, let's talk Seattle Seahawks. This Seahawks squad off to a really hot start. They've been playing well offensively, defensively. Coaching's been outstanding, and it looks like the Seattle Seahawks, who have made a ton of great moves over the past calendar year or so, are about to make another massive move. Again, this is thinking 2 steps ahead, and the Seahawks are going to take advantage of a massive market problem. We'll get to that in just 1 second. But first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, the Seattle Seahawks coming into the 2025 season, a lot of the smart people in the media had low expectations, right? They said Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, that's a tough transition. No more DK Metcalf. JSN looks good. But I mean, come on, and Cooper Kupp, look, last time he was good was 2 or 3 years ago. What's this team going to look like? And the answer is really, really good. Been impressive pretty much every single game this season. That victory over the Steelers looks even more impressive as time goes on. Great job finishing out the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, this is just a really good, solid, fundamentally sound football team with a lot of young players, a lot of good players that are veterans as well. And it looks like John Schneider, Mike McDonald, the Seahawks leadership, they're about to make, I think, a really smart, really important trade to put this team in a better position, I think, for the long term. Once again, they're winning now, but they're also going to win in the future. Let's get into this report via a tweet or post on X, whatever you want to call it. This is a few days old, but I think it's really important in the context of what happened over the weekend. So just to refresh everyone's memory, per Ian Rappaport, with Seahawks star cornerback Devon Witherspoon returning on Thursday, teams are monitoring Pro Bowl cornerback Riq Woolen as a possible trade target by the deadline. Sources tell the insiders Woolen's playing time has diminished, and in a contract year, teams believe he could be available. This report has continued to hold strong over the course of the past few days or so, right? There's been no evidence to the contrary. There's nothing like screaming that they're about to trade him this second, but there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of smoke when it comes to Riq Woolen being traded from the Seattle Seahawks. And at this point, it's fair to say when there's this much smoke, there's going to be fire, especially when you got a wheeler dealer like John Schneider. Already traded Geno Smith this offseason, already traded, of course, DK Metcalf. He's made a ton of great moves. It would make sense to trade Riq Woolen if the opportunity is there. But you need the opportunity, and that leads me into the newest update of the story and why I think the Seahawks are going to make another really massive trade, another really smart trade. Let me pull this up right here. This is courtesy of Packers Realm, an X account. They reported the Packers have been making calls on Asante Samuel Jr., per a couple of sources there, and this has been not 100% confirmed, right? Most teams officially will keep it on the down low, but at this point, I think there's been, again, a lot of smoke that the Packers are looking for veteran corners. There's been a lot of rumors they're after Asante Samuel Jr., or at least inquired about Asante Samuel Jr., and we saw this Packers team heading into a Sunday night game against the Dallas Cowboys without CeeDee Lamb, down multiple offensive linemen. The expectation was this Packers pass rush and that great defense, that great secondary, was going to eviscerate the Cowboys offense that was shorthanded, and guess what? Ended up in a tie where the Packers defense surrendered 40 points, and Dak Prescott absolutely shredded them, again, without CeeDee Lamb and with a bunch of offensive linemen hurt. It was an embarrassment for the Packers defense the way Green Bay sees it currently, based on all reporting. So the Packers right now, they're looking to upgrade the secondary. And here's the thing with Green Bay, guys. Right now, of course, after the Micah Parsons trade earlier this offseason, or right before the season, they're all in, right? They gave up a lot of cap space to re-sign Micah Parsons, make him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. They traded away their next 2 first-round draft picks, right? They traded away a defensive tackle in Kenny Clark, one of their leader culture guys, a guy who works well with the rookies and sets the standard in the building. Basically, they're betting on 2025 and 2026 to be a championship season, because in 2 years, they're going to have to completely retool who they are, and they're going to have to do it with not a lot of cap space and not a lot of draft capital, which obviously is a problem. So what does that leave for the Seattle Seahawks? It means they're in a great position to take advantage of this opportunity. They're going to shop Riq Woolen at this point. I think that's a guarantee. I think they're already doing it. The Green Bay Packers are desperate. They're desperate to fill a need for the short term. And we've seen the Seattle Seahawks do this before, again, earlier this offseason. Let me pull up this third image right here. I pulled this off of AI. I think this is really important. This provides the context of what teams are looking for in terms of what trades have happened during the season. And you can see Jarvis Brownlee this year, J.C. Jackson in 2024, Russell Douglas, and then William Jackson and Stephon Gilmore in 2021. All over the board, right? We've got 6th, 7th round picks, late round picks, 3rd round picks, late round compensation, right? There's not a huge opportunity here for value, but considering Riq Woolen's on the last year of his deal and he's eventually going to get benched anyway, they're going to flip him for get something in return. I think they're going to get a Packers team that's desperate. Remember, the Packers, a lot of people said maybe a little bit of an overpay for Micah Parsons. They overpaid potentially for Parsons. They're even more desperate now. How much could they overpay? I think a third-round pick isn't out of the question for a very, very desperate Packers squad. And you can see that's not unheard of. Remember, the Rasul Douglas was traded for a third-rounder. There's been a lot of mid to late round picks there across this board that we've seen over the course of the past few seasons when it comes to cornerbacks being traded. So again, this is not a situation where the Seahawks are going to flip Riq Woolen for a 7th rounder, right? And even if they do that, I think that's at least getting something in return. But I think they're going to catch a very desperate Packers team, and I think they're going to be in a great position to get a lot of value in return. And this is what John Schneider does, guys. This is what he's done over the course of the last calendar year. Wanted to move off of Geno Smith. He got the trade, got a lot of value. Wanted to move off of DK Metcalf, turn the franchise receiver group over to JSN, got a lot of value. This is what Schneider does, and based on all the reporting, I think the Seahawks are about to make a massive trade, and a really smart one at that. I know we got a little bit more to break down, but first, Seattle Seahawks fans, in the comment section below, give us your thoughts on this potential Riq Woolen trade. I think it's a high probability at this point. I think it's not a done deal, but it's pretty darn close. But what would you want in return for Riq Woolen trade? Remember, he's on the last year of his deal, so he's walking anyway in free agency. Give us what you think the Seattle Seahawks should get in return, and maybe what you think they will get in return when they pull off, I think, a very probable trade in the coming days or weeks. And I think there's a lot of different ways this could go, but I think the Seattle Seahawks, they're going to make a great move here. Let us know your thoughts, though, in the comment section below. And before we get into further details, let's hear first from the sponsor of today's video. I wanted to take a minute in today's video to talk about something that's really important to me, guys, and that is food. Look, we all know, of course, we all have family obligations, right? You're never going to sacrifice family. You got work stuff, right? Got to make money somehow. And for darn sure, at least I know you guys probably feel the same way, not skimping out on any football. Going to watch the games, of course. But where does that leave enough time to prepare tasty meals to fill us up and get the calories, proteins, and all that stuff we need to fulfill our active lifestyles? At least I know in my case, right? I got a young daughter at home. I'm trying to stay fit. I'm trying to, move around as best I can. But my wife and I, we're running around with our hair on fire half the time while also doing our work stuff, other family stuff, the football stuff, right? I mean, is there enough time to sit and prepare and eat a bunch of meals? Of course not. And that's the case with a lot of people these days. Everyone's got busy lifestyles. That's where snacks come in. And look, I know a lot of people, snacks traditionally aren't the tastiest thing. They don't really hit the good calorie, protein requirements that I know a lot of us are going for. And that's why I'm excited to talk about our sponsor today, and that is Chomps. And I got one of their meat sticks right here, guys. I tell you what, I know a lot of people say meat stick. Is it tasty? My opinion, this stuff is delicious. I love their barbecue flavors, but the best part, in my opinion, 100 calories. We're talking 10 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar. So it checks all the boxes I'm looking for in terms of nutrient requirements, again, to just fit into my active lifestyle. Chomps is one of those things that, I wish I'd known about it before because it's such a tasty snack. And once you start eating them, guys, you won't stop. I've never been a meat stick kind of guy until I tried Chomps. These things are off the chain. And here's the best part, guys. If you go to chomps.com/SMI, again, link in the description box below, you'll get 15% off your next order. Big discount there. We're talking tasty snacks, 100 calories, 10 grams of protein. I love it. You got to try it if you haven't already. Go to chomps.com/SMI to get your 15% discount today. All right, the Seattle Seahawks, it's important to understand here with John Schneider is that they've done this, right? We talked about the Geno Smith and DK Metcalf trade, but it's not that just they were willing to trade Geno Smith and willing to trade DK Metcalf, is that they took advantage, of market inefficiencies with desperate teams. The Steelers, for example, not dissimilar from the Green Bay Packers, going all in. You don't sign Aaron Rodgers. You're not looking, for all the moves the Steelers have made. You don't draft a quarterback on day 1 or day 2 for a team that needs a quarterback, that went into the offseason with no quarterback on their roster, unless you're going all in. So they sign Aaron Rodgers. They've got a 1-year window to win a championship. In their minds, they're desperate. What do? You trade him DK Metcalf, get the cap space, and get a lot of draft capital in return. That's a win. How about the Raiders? They hire elderly Pete Carroll. No offense to Pete Carroll, but it's not like he's going to coach another 20 years. At least probably not, right? In all likelihood. The Raiders right now haven't been good in a very long time, but trying to get back by whatever means necessary. They got Tom Brady involved. What does that mean? It means you get a little desperate, right? It means you get a little aggressive. Instead of developing a quarterback or drafting one, they go the running back in top 10 and they trade for Geno Smith. How does that look right now? I'd say the Seattle Seahawks have come out well ahead, even if they just gave away Geno Smith for nothing and did like Darnold for Geno Smith. Still right now, through this point of the season, the Seattle Seahawks clearly won the trade, especially when in all likelihood the Seattle Seahawks got their potential future quarterback and Jalen Milroe on top of it. What a clear victory. And again, it's because the Raiders were desperate. The Steelers DK Metcalf trade, it's because the Steelers were desperate. A few years ago, the Seattle Seahawks took advantage of another desperate team. That was the Denver Broncos, who felt they were a quarterback away from a Super Bowl and felt Russell Wilson could be that guy. What did the Seattle Seahawks do with the Denver Broncos? Got a massive haul, trading away Russell Wilson, and basically have built out the core of this team. That is the reason why this team's 3-1 right now. Is because of those core group of guys. Obviously, Darnold's playing great. McDonald's a good coach, right? Offensive coaching staff's doing a great job. But the core of this team is from that Russell Wilson trade. Again, John Schneider taking advantage of a desperate team. This is what he does. He's not done it once before. He's not done it twice before. He's done it 3 times before. And right now he sees another desperate team. Like the Broncos were desperate a few years ago. Like the Steelers were desperate this offseason. Like the Raiders were desperate for someone that could play quarterback this offseason. The Green Bay Packers right now are desperate. At 2-1, and certainly when they were 2-0, Green Bay looked like a championship team, an unbeatable team. They lost a heartbreaker to Cleveland because of their special teams and offensive collapse. Listen, it happens. It's the NFL. You have some turnovers, some special teams blunders. You lose a game. It happens, right? It sucks, but it's just a fact of life. But to play a beat-up Cowboys team that's terrible defensively and to walk away with a tie and surrender 40 points, suddenly this championship or bust Packers team, they're not even a guarantee to make the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, interestingly enough, the Packers, I think, would be the 7th seed, right? You go all in, you trade Micah Parsons, you bet your entire future, and you end up at the 7th seed. That's a disaster waiting to happen. What does that mean? It means desperation. It means John Schneider is going to pull off this massive trade. I think it's going to happen in the coming hours, days, or weeks. Riq Woolen will be traded to the Green Bay Packers. I think the Seattle Seahawks will get a little haul in return, a lot more than they would have potentially thought they could have gotten. I'm looking for maybe even as high as a 3rd-round pick before it's all said and done. Keep an eye out for that, Seattle Seahawks fans. You're about to make a massive trade.